What's good, YouTube? It's Coffee back at it with a hip hop blog for y'all, some hip hop news. And we're talking about the retired rapper, now podcaster Joe Budden. You know what I mean? We know he done left them rap dreams behind a couple times when different situations popped off, like the Eminem, Lil Beef, and whatnot. And some other situations, people wanted him to come out of retirement. But he's like, nah, I ain't doing it. You know what I mean? It's like it's all ancient history for him. But flashback to '03, Pump It Up drops. The album's on the way, the self-titled album. Joe Budden's got a big buzz behind him. Things are looking real promising. And, he's revisiting some ish that went down back then, a little beef and whatnot. And listen, we all know Joey's that kind of dude that's always in some beef. He done fell out with Rory and Maul, him and Academics. Oh no, I mean they're still on good terms, I guess, right? I think that was more contractual-ish that had Joe sever ties with the Everyday Struggle show. Held a slaughterhouse situation, you know what I mean? Reportedly, Joe was like the main dude that was holding things up as far as them continuing on as a group, and the fans all wanted to see it. I mean, recently though, we saw Crooked Eye and Joel Ortiz, drop that project and finally close that chapter, and Royce and Joe were mad about it. But my point is, Joe's always in some ish, don't forget about Wu-Tang. That Method Man comments got him snuffed, but Joe's always in some ish. He's an abrasive dude. He just doesn't get along well with others, right? But let's flash back to this old beef from back then that Joe just revisited it.
Since the last biggest record, right? Snapple Fun Fact 84. Pump It Up comes out and it's the biggest record. And it's the biggest record since the last biggest record. Right? And we say, damn, we need to figure out a way to keep this motherfucker going. We need to remix this shit. But it needs to be like the hottest remix ever. So, I told Skane, I said, yo, let's holler at Jay-Z for the remix. That'll be fucking phenomenal. Jay-Z is my favorite rapper in the world. We're on the same label. It just makes sense. So Skane comes back to me another night. He says, yo, Jay's in the studio. He'll be over at such and such studio this time. Let's go over and holler at him. He wants to talk to you. So we go over there and we talk to him. I let him know, listen, man, I'm a huge fan. You're like my fucking guy. Would love for you to do the remix, blah, blah, blah. Chopped it up a little bit. And we left. And he said, all right, I'm going to let you know. And we left. And the number that Jay-Z told Skane that he was going to charge me to do this remix was a number that he knew good and goddamn well a brand new artist could not afford. It was basically a no, but it was like a fuck out of here type of no. So he charged me this astronomical number, and at that point I was like, you know what, fuck it. If Jay-Z can't do the remix, I'm not doing the remix. So like 2 weeks later, 2 weeks after we had that conversation, the guy puts that fucking freestyle out. And I was really mad about it. I wasn't mad that he did it. The freestyle was like a slap in the face to a new artist. It was like, you just charged me X amount of dollars for a remix. and you knew I couldn't do it, and then you turn around and take the beat and fucking, it was almost like gloating. It was almost like showboating, like, fuck you. So I said, you know what? He didn't want to do the remix, he want to go do a freestyle. I'm taking my beat back. Give me my beat, and I don't want you rapping on my beat like a little kid I was. And that's how this happened.
Alright, so y'all heard that old clip there. Joe Budden's talking about his little static with Jay-Z again. You know, pump it up, Sal. It's on the airwaves. It's buzzing. They want to keep that buzzing momentum going by doing a remix. And you heard him. It was Jay-Z or no one else as far as the remix went. It made sense to him. You know, he was able to get that convo with Jay. But, you know, more or less, Joey, you heard him. He felt like Jay was telling him no by hitting him with a number that was out of his budget and price range. Now, I heard other old interviews too where Joe Budden referred to the price as astronomical, which keep that in mind, because, you know, it's going to go what we're going to touch on here with him revisiting the beef. But you heard him, he felt like Jay didn't want to do it, just basically wanted to tell him no. Wasted his time, I guess. I don't know. It just rubbed Joey the wrong way. And of course, the freestyle, Jay-Z ended up dropping to the Pump It Up beat shortly after.
About bros, about niggas and bitches. Give me that beat, fool. It's a full-time jack move. Don't worry, Skado, I get back soon. Just had a little fun. What's up, my nigga?
You heard Hov, right? He said, give me that beat, fool. He was jacking for beats. So what do y'all think, man? Do you think Joe Budden's, you know, summary, what he thought was going on as far as Hov back then was like no and fluck no, you know, with him hitting him with the price and then putting out the freestyle? I mean, any way you cut it, it seems kind of odd that he dropped that freestyle and, you know, made it clear he was jacking him for his beat on that, right? And, you know, go check the freestyle out. I'll link it below. It definitely had a lot of subs in there. And, of course, Joe Budden took those like they were aimed at him, you know, and he responded. And it was crazy back then, early in Joe Budden's career. He was going at it with Jay-Z. Shortly after that, he's beefing with 50 Cent, G-Unit, Banks. The Game ended up, you know, jumping in the beef and going at Joey. Joey got that Game. It was wild. You know what I'm saying? He was caught up in a lot of ish. But ultimately, in the end, and hit the comments, you know what I'm saying, with your thoughts on the whole little beef and all that and everything. We know Jay-Z ended up going on to drop the Black album. You know what I mean? That Pump It Up freestyle was on like a little mixtape he threw out that was like a prequel to the Black album. And after the Black album, it was this semi-retirement stage that went on for a few years until Kingdom Come dropped. But he ended up getting the Def Jam presidency. And something I talked about recently in a video is there's quite a few rappers. Redman's one of them. Joe Budden's one of them. There's a few others, you know, that say when Hov got that Def Jam presidency, their career was put on hold. You know what I'm saying? That Jay-Z shelved their albums or wanted them to go different directions with the music and things of that nature. And, you know, with Jay-Z and Joey having their little static and beef and everything like that, his, you know, follow-up project ended up shelved for the longest time, Billy Joel voice, and he ended up leaving Def Jam. I mean, that was some years later, but, you know, there was still some tension. Jay-Z don't forget. Jay-Z don't catch amnesia. And I don't know. Maybe this is all a part of what, you know, left that bitter taste for Joe Budden for the rap game. As we know, man, he has a lot of horror stories about the industry, you know, where things went wrong. I mean, and a lot of artists do. It ain't just Joe Budden, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a wild game, you know, but it's just crazy to look back at the way Joe Budden broke into the game. Like, for real, y'all remember the buzz that he had behind his name, all the mixtapes, the first project that dropped, everything. Joe Budden seemed like success was certain, like he was in the game to stay. But ultimately, you know, things turned out differently. Ended up leaving a major label, signed in a contract with a smaller label, and there was some funny style stuff with that or whatever. That's a whole nother video, a whole nother conversation. But what's interesting, as I've been stating in the beginning of this video, Joe Budden's revisiting this beef as he just did an interview with queenzflip. You know what I'm saying? Flip the Script podcast. Great platform, man. They really do dope interviews over there. Comment if y'all fuck with queenzflip and G Money's podcast. You know what I mean? And they do not just hip hop. They had Diamond Dallas Page on there recently. Jake the Snake. Hell, they had Jerry Springer over there. Like, I really fuck with that podcast. But it's interesting what Joe Budden had to say about the whole Jay-Z beef. It almost seems like he's looking at it different nowadays, where maybe he thinks like he handled the situation wrong. And I don't know, maybe jumped to conclusions or something. I don't know. Like, I'm gonna go over his statement that he gave. He had to say regarding the whole situation with Jay-Z, and y'all let me know what you guys think, you know. And if you do indeed think that Joey, as you know, I'm seemingly kind of looking at this like he thinks maybe he may have been wrong a little bit or something like that. It's I don't know, I feel like I don't hear Joe Budden react that way a lot. You know, I feel like he's the kind of dude that sticks to his guns, or I don't know. But peep it, this is what was said. You know, it was mentioned how Jay-Z currently nowadays doesn't charge for features, but he don't really do features like that no more. You know what I'm saying? So when he does, it's kind of rare, and you know, I'm sure he picks and chooses who he's gonna rock with. You know what I mean? I don't know if it, like, comment, let me know what you guys think. Do you think it's like the artists reach out to Jay-Z through their connections in the game, or do you think it's more like Hove is like, oh, such and such is working on a new project, I fuck with them, let me jump on a track with them, you know what I mean? But he doesn't charge any feature money anymore, you know what I mean? Jay-Z's beyond that. He's got the Rock Nation empire, he's doing a lot, you know. But regarding the whole situation, people, Joe Budden said, he said, I don't think that was a big number, I think that was his number. He said, that's my number to rap on this new artist remix. It was just big in my world, but it wasn't a big number. Now, again, in that little clip I shared for y'all, he wasn't necessarily saying it was a big number, but he was saying, he was saying in his opinion, he felt like Hove knew there was no way in hell he was going to be able to come up with that fee. You know what I'm saying? And again, there's another interview out there that I heard him say, you know what I mean, that Jay-Z, when he threw the price out there, that it was astronomical. But this is what he's saying again. Now, currently, I don't think that was a big number. I think that was his number. That's my number to rap on this new artist remix. It was just big in my world, but it wasn't a big number. Listen again, I'm super young in that moment. I wasn't in the studio when Jay and Skane, which is, you know, was his A&R, had the convo. I knew that they had some type of relationship. It was a Just Blaze beat, and we know Jay and Just Blaze, you know, definitely had a relationship, right? It was a Just Blaze beat, and I was green behind the ears. I just thought that it would get done. I didn't know anything about the business and how things like that are supposed to go. That was par for the course. So again, he's saying he was green. He was looking at the situation like he was going to get this whole feature, but it didn't work out, you know. So in the end, he had a negative feeling regarding all this. You know what I mean? He was counting on that feature. And again, it would have been dope. Jay-Z on the Pump It Up remix at that time. That would have been huge. Like getting the Hove cosign, getting the Hove verse, that momentum would have been amplified for sure. But then he ended up going on to say, it was big to me because it was unattainable. It was outside of my budget, but the blessing was that he gave a number. So What do y'all think, man, when we hear, y'all heard the clip that I played in the beginning from some years back where Joe was speaking about this situation, you know what I mean? He definitely was pissed off, you know what I'm saying? Felt bitter towards Hove, felt like Hove slighted him, like Hove dissed him. And then now what he said right here about, oh, it wasn't that big of a number. I was green behind the ears. I was counting on getting it, etc., etc. You know, like it sounds like he's looking back like he may have handled it wrong. But I don't know, man. You know, either way, we know Jay ended up going on to do what he did and dropping that freestyle. And literally, in my opinion, when he started that thing off by "Give me that beat, fool," when he's jacking for beats, you know, it definitely to me felt like those subs were aimed at Joey. And you know, he was throwing some jabs. He wanted Joe to know the deal. I mean, either way, just the fact that he used the beat right after that whole interaction between them, trying to get the feature, is definitely Hove making some kind of statement about it all, in my opinion. You know what I mean? But in hearing all this, I want to know what you guys think. You know what I'm saying? I want to know if you guys think it sounds like Joe Budden. If you think Joe Budden is saying he handled it wrong, he is saying he regretted it, which is kind of wild. Again, to me, I don't think a Joe Budden is the kind of dude that admits it he is wrong or apologizes or things of that nature very often. Maybe I'm tripping. Y'all let me know if you guys agree or not. It's kind of interesting to hear of him speak of the whole situation in that light, the way he did it. You know, he does speak about his rap career. Again, he's beyond it. I don't think he'll ever go back to rapping. He's beyond it. He does talk about his career, obviously, from time to time, especially is going to come up during interviews on podcasts. But the way he was describing that all was just felt a little different to me, you know. So it seems like it's something maybe Joey thinks about a lot. Again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm tripping. Let me know what you think. And, you know, if he is saying that he handled it wrong, then I wonder if Jay-Z made that track because he heard rumors of Joe Budden, you know, saying that interaction between them and the price and everything, he felt some kind of way about it, and word got back to Jay, and Jay said, okay, well, now I'm going to jack you for your beat. Or he planned on it regardless because they didn't pay the fee, or what the case is. I don't know. Something definitely set Hove off, though, for him to diss like that, to pull the jack move and everything. So tap in, comment, share your thoughts on all that. And, you know, if you think that would have changed Joe Budden's career. I mean, we definitely know when he ended up at Def Jam, or I can't say we definitely know, but if when he ended up at Def Jam, when Hove got the presidency, if there wasn't that tension, things could have went a lot different for him. I don't know. Who knows, you know? I mean, we all know the coulda, woulda, shoulda narrative sometimes can go on endlessly, and a lot of people look at that whole way of thinking as, like, what's the point of it? And sometimes, you know, I agree. Coulda, woulda, shoulda is like, fuck it, let's not even get into it. But in certain instances, I think it's an interesting and worthwhile road to go down and conversation to have. So that concludes this one. Is Coffee. I'm up out of here. Joe Budden, Jay-Z friction, revisited here in 2022 by Jump Off Joe Beezy over there on the queenzflip platform. Let's talk about it below in the comments. If you're new over here, don't forget to subscribe. Again, hit the comments heavy. That's what it's all about over here, hearing what y'all the people got to say. But don't forget to sub up. Stay tuned. More content coming. Music, news, sports, current events, life, and much more. I'm up out of here, y'all. Peace.